Hello everyone and welcome to the Quan Ha Show. I'm joined by...
Laper Quaden.
And...
I didn't play this far in.
Footed Quan.
Footed Quan.
I could just keep going, we'll leave that.
We're rolling.
So, since the last show, we have a kind of massive amount to discuss. A lot has happened, so I'm kind of looking forward to this show. I guess first on the agenda, we'll start before we get to the real big news. We do want to discuss the roadmap a bit. The new revised subject to change roadmap of season 2.5 and then 6 years later, season 3.
6 years later, God.
So... Leifer, what are your thoughts on the roadmap?
Six years later, only if we're lucky.
If we're lucky, yeah.
Yeah. Look,
Jesus Christ.
I think when I initially saw it, I was very frustrated. I was really, really charged up about seeing it, especially because so much of it had been pushed back into March of next year. That makes it over a year since the game initially released. I mean, the stuff in the roadmap is good overall. It's just the fact that it's being spread out so much is really disappointing, especially for a game that touts itself to be live service. Certainly doesn't feel like it. I think that the one exception I would have to the good stuff about the content is probably there only being 2 new maps in the winter update.
Yeah.
And I believe that they're made in Forge as well, or is that the ones from March?
No, they are too.
Oh, that is... wow, that's... Look, I mean, pros and cons to that. I mean, at least it's a good showcase of what the editor is capable of. But at the same time, you know, professionally made maps are nice when you get them.
Yeah, they certainly are, but it seems like we are not getting them. In fact, I know this has been said before so many times, but have less content in this live service game in 2022 with modern development tools than we did in Halo 2 from 2004. We got more maps within a shorter time frame than we did now before we even had a model for live service or how to launch an online game. I know it's been said a million times, but you know, fuck it, I'll say it again. It's pathetic. And look, I mean, there's no other place that could have come to. When 343 keep failing like this, what eventually happened, I think it was inevitable. In fact, I'm surprised it took so long to happen. Like Leiper said, the actual content on it itself isn't all bad. I think what really set people off in the reaction was, I think one of them was obviously the dude saying, I think Halo's always been a competitive game. And
oh my God.
I can't help but feel like I'm somewhat responsible for the reaction to that. Because like, one of my biggest videos I've made was all about that, and that was it was actually less controversial actually compared to some of my other videos, to be honest, which is kind of saying something. But yeah, but beyond that statement, there was also I think the bigger thing, the cancelling of split screen co-op. So again, split screen co-op, even if only 5% of people ever use it, it's a marquee feature for Halo. It is, and I'm not talking about the marquee that Master Cheeks had sex with. I'm talking about...
Oh, jeez. Come on, man. You have to bring that up here.
I mean, like, marquee is in, like, a marquee, like, M-A-R-Q, however it's pronounced, the biggest one.
Take it out of my brain.
Q-E-E-E. And it's basically a big tentpole feature that's just important, that is essential to the name, to the brand of Halo. It's something that so many people so strongly associate with Halo. And they made a promise before launch that it would be in the game. But
they did, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like something that people expect. And it was a controversy back in Halo 5, and it remains controversial when they leave out these basic features. One of the most basic assumptions you make, as time passes, you expect technology to get better, right? As we get more powerful consoles, we should be getting more out of our games. But paradoxically, we've been getting less over time. And look, development has gotten harder, and they've shown that, but us getting less than we got in games from 15 years ago on hardware that was a fraction of the power, it's just not good enough. I'm not sure
make a lot of sense
why we have come to hold game developers to such lower standards.
It's probably why Bonnie's leaving now, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
I know she has said that. I mean, this is, to be honest, this is why the Fire 343 crowd have come out with such intensity, because not only the roadmap, as you said, co-op is cancelled, which is what was promised to us after Halo 5. But like, I was someone that didn't actually agree with the full Fire 343 crowd. I actually agreed that the management were the issue. So seeing people like, I'm sorry to hear about Bonnie's family issues. Whether or not that's true, no clue. But if it is, I'm hoping that her family get better and all that sort of stuff. Wishing the best for her. But I do think it's the right step for her to leave. And I think it's the right time for her to go. And under the new leadership, I think her role has been divided into 3 parts. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
I think you have. So that, I think, is going to be interesting. But the guy who's taken over for her, Pierre Hinsey, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not.
Pierre.
But Pierre. So he's got a good background, saved MCC essentially, as the other guy. We'll get into that in a bit, but I think it was time for Bonnie to go, and eventually, if you continue making mistakes, eventually something's going to give, and it has.
I think that Bonnie cared a great deal about Halo, but care is not the same as competency. And
exactly.
I mean, because I think Microsoft were pretty, I don't want to say intent, but they had the intention flying around to basically scrap Halo after Bungie left. They didn't think that another developer could take it on, and it was Bonnie who actually approached them and said, "Oh no, hold up a minute, we'll give it a try." So we do have her to thank for that, for better or worse.
And for that, I give her full credit. That I can't complain about. I don't want to destroy her legacy or anything. I'm just saying, when we look at these things, at this recent firing, it's not, I don't see it as a personal attack. I see it as just the result of business, how business has gone. I think this is just, when you're underperforming in a job, in a high paying job at that, one with a lot of responsibility, where you're in charge of a lot of people, you can't expect to just hold the same position unchallenged. At some point, you have to, someone has to come in and hold you accountable. And I think that's just a part of business. That's just something we expect. It shouldn't be anything personal or anything like that. So I don't hold any, I don't hold any ill will towards any of the management. It's just, at some point, if they're not able to deliver, they should be moved on. So,
as they say, it's nothing personal, just business. But yeah, we're definitely seeing a changing of the guard at 343 Industries, and it's probably a good thing, because a lot of those people have been there for quite a long time now, and if the last 10 years since Halo 4 released have been evidence of anything, it's that something just isn't working. There is just something happening in the company, whether it's the workplace culture. There's hundreds of reasons, but I think that, a leadership shakeup is not just a good thing symbolically, it's showing that, because, the Fire 343 hashtag, as I've discovered, was a very, there was a lot of broad uses for it.
Yeah,
there were some people, there were some people who were like, oh, we want 343 to fall off the face of the earth, that kind of Fire 343, and let the Halo brand die. And then you had some people who were like, Fire 343 is just more powerful, instead of saying, well, how about we hashtag fire some of 343? It just doesn't really hold that same kind of meaning.
It kind of just summarizes the general feeling, rather than actually being the direct call to action. Also, one thing I will say, you were saying it was a change of guards, but I'm thinking it's more like cleaning the house. Modern Warfare 2019, full clean out. But I think that is, after Bonnie Ross, we saw the lead of the Slipspace engine being removed.
Yes.
And even before Bonnie Ross, we saw Chris Lee. There was a lead producer. There are a lot
Chris
of lead
Lee.
people. There was a lead artist like Sparth, like a lot of people before, and I think there will be even more people to come who will be removed from senior positions. I think that is something quite reasonable to expect.
But yeah, like as I said before, I just think it's the right time for a lot of those people to leave, and let's just see how the new people go. I'm hoping for the best. Changes will take time. Noticeable changes will take time. But I'm hoping for the best. I hope we'll see something good with these guys.
I doubt there's much active development happening right now. I think
there's a freeze now, isn't there?
Yeah, there's probably a lot of kicking up feet and desks, and kind of just whittling away, looking at the clock, waiting for things to kind of come into place to get the engine rolling again.
It is what it is. That's what I'll say.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And like people have been calling for it for a while, but yeah, like you said, with so many kind of duds over the years, I think that something had to give eventually. And it seems as though now the morale in the Halo community has mostly seemed to improve after this news, which I think is the best thing that could have happened. Obviously, you know, there's still a fair portion of people who don't think that Infinite is going to get much better. They don't think Halo is going to get much better, and you know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but change at this point is only a good thing. You know, we hit rock bottom a couple of weeks ago. We can only go up from here, I hope. Thank God.
Yeah, hopefully.
No, exactly.
I'm praying to the Lord. Please, Jesus.
So what about some of the actual content itself? Like, I think the Shroud screen looks pretty cool.
Yes.
It seems to me sick. What they're going for, and I haven't heard enough people saying this, but it seems clearly what they're doing is like trying to be like a smoke bomb from CS or like whatever the Valorant thing is, because in Valorant it's literally like a dome. Like that's meant for like tactical or maybe competitive game modes or whatever, because that's I guess they probably every game developer, they look at other games and they try and see, so what works in this game, so that, you know, it's blocking field of view and all that Shroud screen. But I also wonder, why are they bringing back the DMR of all the things they could bring back? The DMR. There's so many. There's they could have brought the plasma rifle. They could have. They could have brought the Furod cannon.
Would have been great.
They could have brought so many things back. The DMR was meant to be. It was originally just a replacement for the battle rifle to work in with Halo Reach's bloom system, and people hated it.
that is kind of true. Yeah, I remember first playing Reach. I wasn't the biggest fan of the DMR. It's grown on me a little bit. I look back on it with rose-tinted glasses, but at the time I remember not liking it very much. It does seem to function a little differently though in Infinite than it does. Yeah. It does. I mean, Ghost is probably the expert here because you did the full weapon analysis for it.
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago. It's interesting because like it could be used as a starting weapon for competitive, like if people wanted to change it from the battle rifle to that. But it's I don't know. I just wish, as Nerd said, I just wish they were a bit more creative in a weapon bringing back a weapon. Like plasma rifle would have been much better, or even the brute shot. Like, something that's different. We haven't really seen in a while. That would have been much better than just the bandit rifle, which is the DMR. You know, it is a bit different, but still the same thing.
Like they could have brought back the spiker and kind of reinvented that. You know.
Well, it is in the game file. There's a lot of stuff in the game file.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's
my left nuts in the game files, but you won't see that until 2 years.
It's in Master Chief's visor. You'll see it there, like reflected.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. Okay, what? So there's from memory. There's okay. So Ghost's left nut. There's the spiker.
Yes.
There's the Halo 5 shotgun, which is currently usable. Like if you glitch it into custom games somehow. There's the saw. There's the what is it? The armament blaster, which is like that. weird kind of Forerunner looky thing that has like a Void's tear effect from like the Halo 5 plasma pistol rec variant that sucks things in. And the fuel rod cannon, but it's got, I don't know if it's permanent or not, but it's currently got like they use the ammo similarly to how it was in Combat Evolved, where instead of reloading it, it like goes by like a charge or something. Yeah, there's definitely like more guns in there that they're either leftovers from Halo 5 or they're just waiting for the right chance to put them into the game.
Also, I think there was Ghost's right nut as well.
Yeah. I'm wondering where that was.
Yeah, it's like, why do they just have the left nut in the game files? What the fuck? It's the right nut. What the fuck? It's like, just all this cut content in Halo Infinite, man.
That's a new tactical grenade. Area denial. You throw it down and everyone runs away.
Everyone runs away.
Oh god, very good in King of the Hill.
Oh man, I was thinking more oddball, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Oh god,
that's a complete derailment.
I'm keeping it in though. I'm keeping it in. That was fucking gold.
It's in the files, like
it is there, but a lot of
it's
things
becoming
in the files.
Yeah, true, but in the Tatanka game files, it's supposed to be like coming for that, so I reckon we won't see that come to Halo Infinite until Season 4, which will probably be, towards the end of next year. So yeah, unfortunately right now for a lot of us Halo fans, it's just the waiting game. Should wait for all of this content to come.
Well, I guess we got MCC in the meantime.
Yeah.
And MCC modding.
And
you guys saw VKMT, Halo Reborn.
Yeah, the some of the stuff that they revealed in that mod showcase was pretty impressive.
Very
especially when they, because I was watching it kind of blind. I sat down and I was just watching it through. I was like, okay, there's Kashira's Halo 3 Combat Evolved mod. Kind of expected that one to be there. There's a couple of other retro things and stuff like that. And then they showed off like the Alpha Dig Site stuff with like the Kestrel and the Spectre and Combat Evolved. And then they did the Halo 2 E3 demo, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm all in. I like it. I can't wait to play that. If they manage to get that in a proper playable place in the foreseeable future and they release that, that's like a childhood dream come true. That's incredible.
Yeah, that'd be crazy actually.
It was very awesome.
Actually, they could slot it into like the campaign. Well, they can't because obviously not.
Well, it'll be another playable mission. It'll be available somehow.
Yeah, that would be so cool. God.
And Halo Reborn as well. Did you see those like? I think they had like those PBR shaders. So basically, the Brox looked all realistic and bumpy. And now they got Halo Reach mod tools. So I think Halo Reach mod tools, they seem like a lot more powerful than Halo 3's. Like they don't use Gorilla anymore. They use like some new thing in Halo Reach.
Yeah, Halo Reborn is kind of like, I think the trailer for that released at just the right time. I think that's why it popped off as much as it did.
Oh my god, nearly 400,000 views on it.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Pretty crazy. But even the idea of it, just a retelling of the original 3 Halo games, but kind of combined into one. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, because I don't know how far they're going to go with the mod. So far, we haven't seen much about it, and I don't even know if it's going to be good. It could be absolutely awful. I hope it isn't though. But
I hope it isn't as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much they could do with it. I mean,
actually, you know what? I take that back. I hope it is awful. I as a Halo fan do not want good content coming to Halo. I just want everything to be like the Halo show. We should have a mod telling the story of the Halo show.
Just in game.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours of gameplay of you walking around as Master Chief in some bland concrete corridor going to fuck Marquee. That's it.
And when you go and go off, the second player's quad.
Oh no! Fuck. Someone will do it. Someone will make like a Halo TV show mod. It'll pop up on Nexus one day.
Players Quan in Halo 3.
Oh god.
General Key did his own thing where he like mapped himself with like a Kinect camera or some shit. So like I'm sure someone could do it with Quan, surely.
Good point.
Yeah, I think an interesting thing about 343 is when you wonder how we got here, like you really have to look at their history and obviously how they started. They're originally basically managing community aspects of Halo, like Halo Waypoint and stuff. But they're actually turned into an actual development studio around the time they knew Bungie was leaving. So I believe around 2008 and 2009, which is funnily, that's, I think, the time, around the time that Bungie was working on, started working on Destiny and like, doing the pre-development and all that and building up the idea. So, the interesting thing though about Microsoft at that time, it was the kind of the Don Matrick era of Xbox, Xbox One launch era of Xbox. As in, if you guys remember the Xbox One launch, always online, you can't share with your friends.
TV.
TV.
Oh, that was the focus.
Sports.
Yeah.
It's the Xbox One because it's just one place for entertainment with TV and sports.
TV and TVs.
It was a really, really bad launch. And funnily enough, like a lot of, like some people are younger. I'm actually surprised how many on the younger side are still in the Halo community. But besides, like, it was really, Halo was big in like 2008, 2009, but I see people still like teenagers now who are, like Halo fans and stuff. So some people around that age, they might not have like as good a memory of the original Xbox One launch, but it really was horrific. Like it was, if you wonder why the PS4 destroyed the Xbox One, like that's what, it was signed, its death warrant was signed from the moment of its reveal. Xbox leadership at the time was woefully incompetent, and that was the same like Xbox games publishing / Microsoft leadership that was around at the time that 343 was formed. And 343, again, as we know, made a special effort to try and make their own mark on the Halo series and not hire people from Bungie, i.e. people with experience with the Halo series. So, if you wonder how 343 has got to this point, you just look at how they started. I think it was really written down from the start. You can see the issue. So I think it was really problematic from that moment, and I'm really more baffled that it's taken this long for them to clean house and like change things around. So
one of the points that gets brought up a lot is the broader audience quote and how people were only just starting to catch on to that now, when that was really something that happened around the Xbox One era as well. Like, I think the idea of Xbox broadening its horizons and the brand becoming a more all-encompassing entity as opposed to just gaming was something that Don Matrick started, and especially with TV, right? Because Halo was the big thing that was initially announced around the same time that there was going to be a TV show in 2013, I think it was. And that was...
I think same as like, Xbox One reveal, yeah.
Yeah, that was
like
broadening...
Steven Spielberg out.
Exactly, that was
funny.
Broadening the Halo brand and trying to make it more than just the video game thing. So
franchise, yeah.
the whole broader audience thing started around there, and it's still kind of going to this day, and it's it's an initiative almost 10 years in the making, and it hasn't quite worked, has it? Let's be real.
They did try it earlier. Like they tried to make that Halo movie with Neil Blomkamp. There was a Halo MMO and stuff like that. And I mean, that's how we got Halo Wars as well. I mean, that was trying to expand to a new genre. Like,
that was,
they were around that time. And Halo Legends as well, the anime.
I think that was slightly... Hold up a minute.
That was the earlier, more successful efforts when Bungie was still in charge.
That was 2010 as well. It's like same as Halo Reach.
I swear to God, I have the Halo Legends DVD somewhere in here. Where the fuck is it? Where is it? I'm gonna find it. It's behind here. Hold up. Halo Legends. Let's see. Yeah, 343 Industries on the back here. This big old logo. What does it say? Yeah, 2010. You were right. Yeah.
Didn't Marty O'Donnell do the music for that?
Well, it was his music, but someone else, I think, composed it and covered it. There's a lot of new stuff in there too. I don't know. I should probably look more into that because the music from Halo Legends is fucking awesome. It's so good.
Yeah, bangs.
I'm just thinking what randomly popped into my head in terms of remixes of Halo music. Do you remember in that in the lead up to Halo 4, I remember the huge hype for it, and I remember they released, it was like the Halo 4 UNSC weapons trailer, and it had like that dubstep remix of the Halo music in it.
Oh my god, I think I know what you're talking about.
It was around like the time screen. You know what? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it up.
You
have to show that.
Yeah, you just triggered a core memory right there. I remember when that trailer first came out, I was in my first year at high school, and dubstep was really big. Like every kid on his jailbroken Android phone was listening to fucking Skrillex. And like Bangarang and shit like that.
Help call 911 now.
Exactly. Yes, that all the time. And so I thought everyone was at that phase where they were like, "Oh, Call of Duty's the best thing ever because we're all grown up, even though we're 12 years old." And so I remember showing people that fucking trailer for Halo 4 with the dubstep track, and they were like, "Yo, dude, this looks so cool. Halo's awesome again." And then they played the game for like a week and then went to Black Ops 2. I was so disappointed. I did all that work showing them that trailer in the high school computer labs. And it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
Change the title to just Halo 4's dubstep was solid.
It was.
Halo 4's dubstep was swag. It was swaggy.
People be so confused. Like, what the fuck?
How do you have so much swag?
Yeah.
I do feel that, like, when you look at the few times that 343 actually has, like, succeeded and done something well, I'd say, like, they have actually been rewarded for it. Like, if you look at the actual people doing it, like, for example, people liked Halo 5's Forge. So I believe it was Tom French, was it? Who was the Forge director? Maybe
yes,
wrong man's name.
That's it, Tom French.
And I think in Halo Infinite, he was like the multiplayer lead. So he did well with his contribution to the game. So he got rewarded for that. So I think over time, like 343, I think it'll improve because naturally the people who please the fans do well and they, go on to get promoted and have more responsibilities and lead the company better. So like that leads me back again to Pierre Heinze, was it? So
yes.
We were talking about the disappointment of MCC, but he was brought on, I believe. Do we know what year? I believe it was after the game came out.
It was 2018, I think early 2018 or late 2017.
Okay. So he would have been the guy behind like the PC launch and all that. Potentially, yeah. MCC was broken forever. Like it was broken for so many years. The fact that even after so long after it had come out, he came out and actually, made the push to bring it to PC. To be fair, the push wasn't just, him behind the scenes. Like it wasn't just organic. Like there was some dude in the community who used the leaked Halo Online build, and he was in the process of porting the Halo 3 campaign to Halo Online.
There was the El Dorito team who were, basically taking the foundations of Halo Online, that exclusive Russian game, and then updating it with assets and whatnot from Halo 3 and maps and Forge and stuff. And I think around the same time, they were also considering bringing the Master Chief Collection to PC in some respect. And so there was a conflict of interest there. And so they had to, unfortunately, give El Dorito the chop. But they did at least bring a majority of the El Dorito team on board to help with the development of MCC and bringing it to PC.
Like, in a short tenure, leading the MCC team, he's done so much for Halo fans, like more than a lot of people who had been there for years. So I think that's good. I think it's good to, if somebody achieves so much in such a short amount of time, I think it's good to cycle out the people who've been there for a long time and kind of disappointed the fans with people who are kind of have done a better job and are newer and able to bring a newer vision. Again, I think, brand new management and everything, I think we can look forward to change. And, if you look at what they've done so far, I think it's reasonable to expect that'll be positive change.
What do we got here? We've got Elizabeth Van Wyck, who is now the head of business and operations and community engagement.
When did she start at like 343?
Okay, no.
She had a spotlight recently.
Yeah, so she's actually been there slightly longer than the rest. She was been there since 2014, where she was a senior franchise business manager, head of esports in 2017 as well, and now it's the head of business and operations. And then there's also Brian Kowski. I'm not too sure about that, how that's pronounced, but he's been at 343 since 2015, where he was head of marketing.
Well, I mean, hunt the truth, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So I mean, he at least did that job well.
So he was basically responsible for the marketing on the lead up to Infinite, Halo 5 Guardians, and Halo Wars 2. And now he's the general manager of the Halo franchise. But prior to that, he did some group marketing manager stuff for... Oh, no, actually, he's okay, so that was Microsoft, where he did Halo Reach, Halo 4, and CE Anniversary, and he's done some stuff with Forza as well. So he's got a fair amount of experience in there. So I think it's, Pierre, who is the kind of newer one to the bunch.
And sorry, what role is he taking over? The marketing guy?
Oh, he's just general manager of the Halo franchise and like overseeing.
Oh, so like
the
franchising, so like, you know, books and stuff, novels.
I would assume so. Yeah. I think
The TV show as well.
The what?
I think that might be a slightly different position, because I know that that Kiki Wolfkill was kind of the one who was overseeing the TV show, and she was head of transmedia. So I think transmedia is like the stuff outside of the games potentially, and like stuff like TV shows. Whereas I think general franchise manager is more so stuff that's kind of within the realm of Microsoft publishing as opposed to Paramount publishing. Things like books, comics, and the games as well, I would assume.
I mean, now that I think about it, that dude, if he was in charge of the marketing, I'd say he did a pretty, like, when you think about it, all of those games were pretty well marketed. Like, Halo 5, obviously Hunt the Truth. Whether or not the marketing was accurate, it was at least, you know, got people hyped. Halo Wars 2, do you remember those, like, car dealership commercials?
Oh, those are great.
I will get this car, and this is how.
Those were great. You said he did Halo Reach, right? And Halo 4?
So hold on a second, I'll just double check. So he was so this was while he was at Microsoft.
So he did like that Deliver
years.
Hope and stuff.
Well, I mean, I assume he would have had some involvement, but yeah, so he was there around the time that they launched Halo Reach, Halo 4, and Anniversary.
Halo 4, obviously, excellent marketing. Dubstep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, he mentions here, like, launched Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo Anniversary, as well as multiple downloadable content offerings, developed global marketing strategy, brand management, product lifecycle planning, and overall execution across multidisciplinary groups at Bungie and 343.
That's pretty good, actually.
That is.
I don't know, maybe there'll be some cooler, you know, extended universe stuff that are, well, better than the offerings we got so far, hopefully.
Well,
recently, I mean. Not so far, like there was... I'm not saying there hasn't been cool stuff, but... You know.
No, I think that, especially Pierre, he's talked about his love of strategy games, and particularly wanting to make like a Halo strategy game set.
Bro, imagine if we made a Halo strategy game.
Well, no. Like a Halo strategy game set in space, presumably. And I know that at some point that was originally one of the ideas floating around for a Halo Wars 3 was to take it to space. So I mean, that could be a good way to branch out.
That'd work. It would be like Sins of a Solar Empire, and I think there is a Halo mod for that.
Yeah,
Sins of the Prophets. Yeah,
the Sins of the Prophets guys have collaborated with 343 before, because the models that they made were so immensely high quality that I think they've actually used them as recently as Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I think they're in the map High Power, weren't they?
Yeah, the Covenant Supercarrier.
Wasn't there
a
controversy with that, where they used it and like they didn't know that 343 were using them in the game?
Yeah.
Or something like that? Like they didn't let them know.
They paid them, didn't they? Or like they allowed them usage of it?
I think they were fine with it by the end, but it was still
yeah, a bit
they just
weird.
took
And
it.
then asked for permission on that.
They probably just wrote it down and said, "Oh, we'll ask them for permission later." And then
Just fucking forgot.
I think just Halo Infinite's development, it was probably written on a sticky note. And
Something else came up.
Thrown out like a week later. So something else came up.
That sticky note is in a folder that left with Chris Lee. So
Yeah.
Although, speaking of Chris Lee, there's some interesting accusations flying around about him at the moment.
Yes. A lot of the people were kind of absolving Bonnie Ross of a lot of the failures with Halo Infinite and saying it was mostly Chris Lee as project lead who was kind of mishandling the game and was almost I think some were saying it was lying about
the state of it.
The state of the development and what he was doing with all that. So I can certainly believe he had. I would say he almost certainly had some kind of role in the state of Halo Infinite as it is.
Yeah, it is a shame though, because I think that everyone has very quickly piled on this because the original. The original person who disclosed the information, Jez Corden, who was a pretty reliable insider for all things Microsoft and Halo, was the one who talked about it initially. But yeah, it's been amazing to see how quickly people have kind of just taken this and ran with it. Not saying that there's no merit to it, I'm sure that there is, but even though Chris Lee potentially kept some of this under wraps and the state of Infinite under wraps, not necessarily telling Bonnie about it until she saw the E3 showcase in 2019 or 2020, sorry. Like, what does that say about Bonnie, though, if she was that hands-off and didn't know about the state of the game till E3? Like, it doesn't scream good for any of them, to be honest.
Over the long term, I think this new management, I think they would understand the expectations, and I think they would be inclined to want to improve the whole series and maybe bring Halo back into the spotlight.
Yeah, I think with Forge in particular, they'll probably be bringing back some of the more core fan base, people like us who are very much interested and involved in that sort of side of things, and custom games and whatnot. But I think the broader audience, quote unquote, I don't think we're going to see Halo Infinite return to its day one peaks of 100,000 players. I don't think that's going to happen.
To be honest, I think that's possible.
Okay.
It's possible. I think it's unlikely. I will say it's unlikely, but to say it's impossible, like I would say it's definitely I would say it's possible to surpass that. Like, I think it could hit 1 million if they do it well, but I think it's very unlikely.
Do it well though. Like you saying, like if Tatanka came in.
Like I'm not predicting they could, but I'm saying it's certainly possible. Like it's certainly within
so,
the realm
yeah.
of possibility if they manage it really well.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just how they do it and the wait. Like I think we're going to be waiting still like another year before, maybe even longer, before we start seeing some big changes to get to what it used to be and even surpass it possibly. But right now, with Forge is going to be the next best thing to keep us going until Season 3. But I think what Halo Infinite needs right now is desync needs to get fixed. First, that should be the top priority. Get the game working well every time people play it, so people always have a constant experience, better performance, PC optimization.
It shouldn't be running like it is. It should not be running like it is for how it looks. There are games that look better that run better.
I don't know how they can. I mean, they need to put some time into fixing it for PC because I always see people complaining about the PC optimization. It's pretty bad.
I've heard, it was definitely marred in technical debt. Like, they're on these new tools and they never really got to, like if you look at something like Destiny, I think Destiny 2 is an absolute marvel of engineering. Like there's a lot of reasons to shit on New Bungie still, even though they've improved with the Witch Queen. Yeah. There's still a lot of reasons to shit on them, but I would say their engineering is definitely not one of them. Like they have some of the best software developers out there clearly, and they have one of the best engines.
I never really hear any problems with Destiny 2 these days. I haven't played it.
No, it looks incredible.
Yeah, I hear really good things about it.
It runs well with really good networking.
Yeah.
So I think if they were more like that, like I will say, you know, maybe they should try and poach some Bungie engineers.
They absolutely should. That would be smart. They need to do something like that.
No, they're 343. They're against hiring former Bungie people. You know, they're trying to create their own path.
They did hire Paul Bertone. So that's the only thing I'll say. But I know what you mean though. Like that was the dumbest statement.
I think that was at the time. Like since then, I think they have. You know, like obviously they took on Joe Staten.
Oh yeah, facts, big facts. That's true.
And like Max Hoberman's still working on it. And Tatanka.
I've got faith. So like that game mode that releases next year for like Tatanka, I'm hoping that is like an excellent experience. If that does well, I can see this game like boost in popularity, like up to what it might have been back at launch.
It could.
It has to be done well.
I think it could well surpass what it did at launch. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it could. I'm not saying it again. I'm not saying it's likely, but
possible.
I'm saying it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tatanka's kind of like the forgers for the hardcores. Tatanka's kind of the casual, broader audience. That's the one that's going to bring it back, I think, because it's what all the streamer plebs are asking for. So
streamer plebs.
But well, it's well. I mean, okay. Look, the whole Halo Battle Royale thing was very much a like the whole movement for it felt like it was, and the importance of it felt like it was pushed more by streamers.
Yeah,
like,
I think only really streamers cared about it.
Yeah.
Saying Halo would die without it.
Yeah, like you had Dr. Disrespect, you had Nick Merckx and Courage and all those guys who were just constantly harping on this battle royale idea, and I think it kind of portrayed a bad image. I think
the worst thing about that is how vindicated they feel seeing seeing Halo Infinite fail, even though it really has nothing to do with it not having
exactly. Yeah, I think it was just because of that, but nah, it's crazy that though. And then what happens, like, if that comes out and they'll be like, we did tell you, we did say it to you, that's what you should have had day one. You know, if it had all the content.
No, dude, it wasn't that. It was just there was no fucking content. Like, it wasn't the VR.
It was just it didn't even meet the bare standard for a Halo game from how long ago was Halo 2? 2004. 18 years, nearly 20 years.
Holy fuck!
It hasn't met the basic standard at launch of a Halo game from nearly 20 years ago, in terms of content and the offering and value for money. Just think about that.
20th anniversary of Halo 2.
I think we'd be more likely to get Halo 2 Anniversary 2.
I would be down for that.
I still find it so interesting that that Certain Affinity, Max Hoberman's company, is the one that's working on this battle royale or whatever it is. Yet Max is a fucking savage sometimes when it comes to 343 Halo.
I liked Halo's sandbox before Sprint. Well, here's the thing. I think he's allowed to basically do it because, like, what the fuck are they going to do? Are they going to fire the dude who runs his own company? Or are they gonna just stop working with his company? Are they gonna get rid of the dude who invented matchmaking? Like,
that's a good point.
September 2nd, all right? So basically the day of the update, after they mentioned the whole competitive DNA thing. Common characteristics of a LAN party. You're playing with people you know and like. There's a wide array of skill and experience. Communication is prevalent and boisterous. There's friendly competition, but the stakes are low. Everyone is having fun. Halo was fantastic in this respect. Our explicit goal with Halo 2 MP was to replicate this experience online. Our goal with Halo 3 MP was to refine this and expand the types of online experiences you could have together. Does this mean Halo has always been competitive? Like, he's straight up dropping the mic every fucking time. Just...
Hey, he knows who he's talking about, though. Like, he's the man.
He does.
Did they not put that guy in charge of the multiplayer?
Seriously.
What the hell? He literally... He's the one more responsible than anyone. Well, okay, that's probably putting too much on it, but he's massively responsible for basically launching Xbox Live itself, and basically online, and by proxy, online console gaming as a whole. You know, because that was launched by Xbox Live and it was pushed by Halo 2. And he played like an instrumental role in inventing matchmaking and creating that whole system. So they should have a direct line straight to whatever he says, and whatever he says, just do it.
Just have the red phone for Max Hoberman at Certain Affinity and pick it up whenever you need advice. Just call the guy up and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer questions. With him at the helm for Tatanka, I don't want to get my hopes up, right? But it's got to be good. It's got to be good, surely.
I think so.
Surely. With a Battle Royale, you don't want the skill-based matchmaking to be too on the nose and too competitive, because the whole idea of a Battle Royale is randomness, is you're dropping into whatever location is, you know, closest, which is kind of random in itself. You don't know who else is going to be dropping in there, also random. You don't know what loot you're going to find, also random. You're making the most of the RNG that's given to you in that sense. To make it so that everyone else in the game is of a similar skill level, it kind of takes away from that. I feel like you should filter out the dead shits and stuff, and then so the actual good people are left.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about skill-based matchmaking is, and I've said this multiple times, matchmaking since the very beginning has been skill-based. Like, since Halo 2, every playlist was had skill-based matchmaking, but the difference is, it was designed back then with intentionality. What I think with modern matchmaking, a lot of what developers do, and this is something that I've heard from a lot of places, developers will just take what works from other games, but a lot of times, because they didn't come up with it themselves, they just looked at it in the industry and said, oh, well, that's an idea that we should copy. They don't quite understand why it was designed that way in the first place. So with Halo 2's skill-based matchmaking and Halo 3's, the whole idea of skill rankings, it was designed so you don't get wildly out of whack games where you're getting completely destroyed. But again, it wasn't meant to completely suffocate and strangle you. You were meant to be facing kind of broad diversity of people still. I was going to go to there was this Dr. Disrespect tweet. He said, like, modern games need a feeling of, just one more game. Like, modern games need to push you to want to play one more game over and over again, right? And he said, he's saying, like, modern games are losing that feeling. And obviously, skill-based matchmaking is something that comes up in that conversation. Like, you feel like that's something that's pushing you away. Funnily enough, modern skill-based matchmaking, a lot of people, they say it's designed specifically after this Call of Duty. I think it was for Call of Duty. Or
Engagement optimized.
Engagement optimized. Yes, that is correct. Engagement optimized skill-based matchmaking. But I think it's ironic that despite being supposedly designed for engagement, it's had the complete opposite effect in the long term. So I think what they did these short-term tests, and it seemed like people got pissed off and wanted to play like one more game because they lost, and they were fucking angry for losing their last game, getting stomped, with this enforced 50-50 win rate. In the short term, it might have done that, but I think in the long term, it alienates people and makes them not want to play. This engagement-based, skill-based matchmaking, I think that's a mouthful. That is a fucking mouthful.
I have not heard based that many times in a sentence since, like, based on what?
Based on these nuts.
Oh. Wait, do you mean the nuts that are in the game files?
Yeah, ghost nuts. His left nut, the grenade.
That's it.
No. But yeah, I think in the long term, what modern engagement-based matchmaking is doing is it's alienating people, because over time they realize, I'm just not having fun playing this game. I don't want to log on and play anymore. I was perfectly engaged playing Halo 3's matchmaking and Halo Reach's matchmaking. Like, I had enough reason to go back because I was like, oh, that was a fun experience. I'm going to keep on going back to that. I see no reason to stop. We need to rethink how matchmaking is designed as a whole. And I guess, I don't know, it's good that Max Hoberman is being more vocal, because again, he was one of the people in the original team who helped basically pioneer matchmaking. I think people should look back to what matchmaking was meant to achieve in the first place, because I think what the effect it was meant to have has kind of now been reversed. And I don't think it just applies to the matchmaking. It also applies to like the social experience, for example. Like that LAN party tweet you brought up before. It's meant to be a social experience, but now it's become the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's what I was going to mention, was that with the changes to matchmaking, it seems to have come at the cost of social features. And it's not just in Halo, it seems to be in other first-person shooters as well, like Call of Duty, for example. It's very difficult to find a game of multiplayer where, you know, everyone's actually in there talking to one another and whatnot. And in particular, in, I think, some of the Xbox 360 Call of Duty games, when you played Search and Destroy, it used to kick you out of an Xbox Live party if you were in one and would force you to communicate with people in game chat. And I don't think they do that anymore.
And they used to have proximity chat in Halo.
In Halo 2, yeah.
Halo 2 invented proximity chat, but no Halo game since has had it. But then, since then, like so many other games, like Tarkov have added, and Rust, they've all added proximity chat.
It's such a good idea. I don't know why they haven't brought it back.
I think the reason was like because of toxicity, basically, like people, you know, slagging off. Like I don't think they want that reputation, but you got to think at some point, like if you give people the ability to mute, you give people the ability to report, if you know, give social games that they can leave, they can, you know, block people and maybe like vote kick or whatever. If you give people all these options, at some point you just got to allow these things to happen, right? You just got to say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't go in and control how people behave online. If we give all these features to avoid like I understand not wanting to, you know, alienate people, you know, people who are new by giving them a bad experience of the game. But again, at some point you just got to say, okay, this is not our responsibility. This is in the hands of the community, the people playing the game. There's of course going to be some bad apples who may ruin the experience, but if we have these features like mute and stuff, we can't really say that we're responsible for this, you know?
I mean, isn't that one of the things that they have on the rating on the box art is experience may change with online matchmaking?
Online experience not rated. Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to say developers are not culpable for what people say in game. I think you just got to take a step back and accept it, that's perhaps one of the sacrifices that has to happen if you want to have a social experience in a game. Yeah.
Social features is one of those things that I think should be one of the bigger priorities in addition to desync and stuff like that, because it was always my fondest memories of Halo were always just stumbling across random people and then partying up with them and going into custom games and stuff, or like full stacking an 8-player lobby for one team of big team battle and then just like killing one person and then hiding the rest of the match. Like that was just so fun. And that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about the Infinite flights as well. There was that element of, because everyone was new and hopping onto it and stuff, and it was fresh, and so people were happy to talk and whatnot. But since then, it's just kind of disappeared.
I'm surprised how, again, it was a feature pioneered in Halo 2 and 3, but I've barely seen any game since that has included like partying up and like post-game lobbies. You think that's like the most natural thing. You want to stick around. And again, like, what's the reason not to include it? Like, what, toxicity? Like I said before, you can literally just back out of the lobby instantly and never have to talk to them again. But just gives you that extra layer of being able, you know, being able to stick around and talk to these people. And more social interaction.
And it encourage you all to just keep playing the game. So win-win for the developer. So that's just
exactly.
Yeah, it's upsetting. But I think I do think that party chat kind of killed that though, like the voice chat in games.
Yeah,
really took away from that.
It did to an extent, but I think people will still do it if there's an incentive. But I do think developers have been actively almost dissuading in-game chat.
Yeah, it's sad.
So, yeah, I guess I kind of left it till the end, forgot it a bit. Just maybe just wasn't swaggy enough, wasn't epic bacon enough. But the Halo Forge, the one reveal they did do that actually looked pretty kind of like awesome was the Forge reveal. And I'm just like, yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about that. That looks incredible. Like, that is going to be so good. Like, the massive object limit, the massive variety of objects, just the incredible freedom. And again, something I was asking for in a previous episode was nav meshes. So nav meshes, that's basically how you control the movement of AI. So what I basically mean is AI in Forge, like as in we can control the movement for like the bots, right? But I'm wondering how much freedom that would give you, obviously, in think of what you can do in like in infection mode, for example.
Yeah.
People were making those like COD zombies barriers, like
It's crazy.
I'm just thinking of the possibilities now. It is, yeah, nothing but good to say. Like, that is one of the things that I think 343 has managed to, you know, well, besides Halo 4, I guess, has managed to, you know, keep on improving every time. And
Yeah, 100%. I'm very, very positive and hyped for Infinite
you know,
Forge.
I'll give a clap as well. I'll give it a
Everybody.
Woo! Well done, 343. You get a gold star for effort.
gold star for it.
They deserve it, but like the Forge does look incredible. Like, they showed us like a fully Forge made map that looked like it was kind of like a Streets vibe to it, Mombasa vibe. And when I first saw it, I thought it was, you know, built first on like a dev made map, just altered. But the guy said it was 100% made in Forge, and I was like, holy shit, that's insane. The lighting, it was baked lighting, which made it look great, but everything, the textures on like the surfaces of everything, the floors, it looked really, really good, like a dev made map. So, you know, I like that. And also, as you said, the scripting, people will be able to create like games and like actual games inside of Halo Infinite's Forge. So just think about that. Like, it's pretty freaking crazy. So once we get that custom games browser, shame it's coming in March, but when we get that, I do expect a lot of people to, you know, like play the absolute fuck out of that. And I will be one of those people because I'm so excited to see what people will create.
Well, got to get the boys together for some of those custom maps, I reckon.
100%.
See what there is to offer.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we've seemingly covered quite a bit in this episode. Everything from 2012 nostalgia to
absolutely everything.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's nothing that we have not covered.
No.
It's
Troll face.
pretty incredible. Oh, fuck. You know, tomorrow, if I look on the news and find out that popular Aussie YouTuber Shredded Nerd has gone missing, it'll be because you found a time machine and went back to 2012 to live out these strange fantasies that you have of listening to dubstep.
I'm gonna go back to 2012. I'll start up. Actually, no, my YouTube channel, it was started in 2011. So my channel would exist. I think had a different name back then. I would go back there and start up Shredded Nerd, and I'll make it a Black Ops 2 trolling channel. I'd just say, "Hey kid, you want 800 Microsoft points? Pretend that pretend your mother is on the mic or something."
What is this come
I don't
to?
even know. Are we
The
still
man has
recording?
2 fucking Jim Beans and Cokes, and he's out of it. He's done. He's gone.
Send me back in time. Dude, it literally was the Halo 4 dubs. We played Halo 4, the hype for Halo 4, and it was just like Halo 4 dubstep. And
Yo,
like,
are you sure those Jim Beans weren't dated 2012?
Maybe, dude. Brought back like everything. We
10-year-old
need
Jim
to just
Bean.
include this all in the video. We need to just leave it all in.
Just 2
Well,
hours
if you're
long.
happy to take a 2-hour-long episode of The Infinite Show, then yeah, fucking go for it, mate.
Okay, so I guess, guys, I'd say we've about capped it off. Are you guys happy with, we've covered about everything?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, there was one more thing. They've renewed Halo. Sorry, I got so excited. Yeah. I mean, guys, they've renewed the Halo show for season 2, dude. Hype.
I'm down. I'm out.
Over.
See yous.
See you later, mate. Take me back to 2012. I'm fucking through with this shit.